Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boy clothes, 1975. A used world's on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug you. Long boys clothes, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Lumboys Post 1975, and welcome to the Wednesday vlog. I know, a Wednesday vlog on a Wednesday. Guess I got the memo. Anyway, as you've read from the title, I'm having so much fun doing these nostalgic memories of that I thought for a moment I paused doing it on the systems. But like I said, I could do it. I could do it forever. I don't know. It's just something to be. Hopefully, you enjoy it as much as I enjoy doing it. But something to be said about just waffling and reminiscing about the nostalgic memories you have, because I guess the people who don't play machines play consoles, computers, or didn't grow up with them, maybe they won't understand what a big important part of our lives it is. We got our responsibilities covered, we've got our jobs and stuff like that, so why can't these memories be important to us, and what's wrong with reminiscing about them? Excuse me, aspartame, you know the rules, got to preserve my bones for future generations. Anyway, as you saw in the title, there's a reason I want to talk about this, but yeah, as you saw in the title, nostalgic childhood memories of the arcades. Now, the reason I want to do this, excuse me, it's the aspartame. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm sacrificing that so I don't end up clearing my throat every 30 seconds, which apparently isn't working. The reason I want to talk about it is I've had a few messages and comments because I've been playing a lot of arcade conversions, specifically on ZX Spectrum, because I'm still on a massive ZX Spectrum trip. And it kind of coincides with this video because the arcades were a big part of my life, and to get that experience at home, we played it on ZX Spectrum. But people keep hearing me to mention random, snippets of information here, about the arcades and the machines and some of the memories, in these videos about the home ports, and said, why don't you do nostalgic memories of the arcades? And I did this probably within the first year of my channel. I think the video was called, do you remember your first time, brackets, in the arcades, close brackets. I thought I was funny back then, apparently I wasn't. And yeah, so I thought, you know what, that's years and years and years ago. I've probably, gained subscribers since then, lost audience members since then. So yeah, and it's a topic that's very, very close to my heart. And wallet, well, then, not so much now. That's something we can touch upon. But the arcade, if you're of my generation, old as I like to say, the arcades were a really, really big part of our childhood, particularly when we went on holiday. Because a lot of people in my generation, at least locally and specific to me, we didn't go abroad on holiday. We always went to the seaside, like in caravans and chalets. Well, that's specifically me, but I knew a lot of other people who did. And back then, arcades were basically primarily the preserve of the seaside resort, this holiday experience, fish and chips, candy floss, the arcades. We're talking sort of early, well, we're talking about like, I don't know, 1980 to 1989 here are specific memories of mine, which I would argue is the golden year of the arcades. Now, the arcades now, yeah, they're still around. They're still primarily in seaside and stuff like that. You might get little bits here and there in cinemas and stuff, but they're not what they were. I guess you could argue that, getting powerhouse consoles, particularly the seventh generation and stuff like that, killed off the arcade. But why would you go to the arcade where you always used to go to experience these machines with such brute horsepower that you would never get it at home? And once that power came home, then it was kind of a lost cause. At least that's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. By all means, please let me know. Excuse me. So, the arcades were a really, really big deal for me back in the day, and my twin brother and my older brother. And it was, this sounds shallow, but we did other things. We played football, we went to the beach, we went swimming, we went in my old man's motorboat and stuff like that. We went abseiling. We had actually really packed, childhood vacations, or holidays, I should say. Holiday, I'm English. So it wasn't just about the arcades, but I'm not going to lie, the arcades, there was something very special about knowing that. And we were blessed in the two different places we went to on holiday, one before the other. We were blessed with a load of arcades that had all the the latest machines then. And this is kind of before magazines as such, or those days in the early days of sort of Sinclair user. Sorry, they didn't really mention arcades as such, or maybe in a review, but you didn't have a section like you used to later on, like in Mean Machines and stuff like that, where they would go, the arcades, here's what's out now. I think your Sinclair cottoned onto it, a few years later. So it was basically what was in them when you walked in them, which made it an even better experience just walking in, and it's such a visceral experience when you're a kid, just this noise of everything sort of, clamoring together. So you'd occasionally have one thing in the crowd, but the majority would just make this mixed noise, and, and the lights and the flashing and the people talking. In those days, people smoking. I'm like 5'6", so, that was disgusting. I mean, I don't smoke now, but that was disgusting to me. But it was still kind of part of the experience of it. But right, I tutted. Cleared my mouth, not my throat. So we were kind of lucky that we'd only go on holiday for like a week at a time. I mean, everyone else at school went 2 weeks at a time, and we would never go out of the holiday period for some reason. I guess it didn't matter for cost wise because we owned our own caravan and we owned our own chalet after that. But I think it's because one time we were wanting, this is what my parents always told us, but we always wanted to go for 2 weeks, that we were so bored and such a handful after the first week that he just said, never again. And sometimes we would go for long weekends, but the arcades would always be specific to it. But, because we were really young kids, my dad's brothers, my uncles and that, wanted to make it an experience for us, they'd like save their 2p's up and stuff like that and divide it amongst all three of us. This was epic. This was why, another part of the experience, the memory. And then we'd go to the arcades and change it up to 10p's, because everything was 10p a pop back then. And and just go and experience everything, just take it in. So 2 hours down the motorway, bugging the shit out of my parents. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? 50p for the first person who can see the sea. We knew where it was every time. How come we still couldn't do that? And so the first place was a caravan site called Blue Anchor Bay. It's on the coast. It's between Minehead and watch it. If you watch the local weather, or you watch the main weather, you'll see those towns named. And this is brilliant memories back then. You had no power. You ran your TV off a car battery draped out through the window, and you had 2 car batteries in your car so you could swap them for charging the next day. Your fridge and all your heating and your lights ran off gas. So the arcades were an extra luxury, and we used to stop the night before, when we arrived, and have fish and chips, and that made the experience even better. But then the next Saturday, we goof around, go swimming and stuff like that. But it would be the evening when my dad and mum would take us out, and they'd go to the pub eventually, and we they sit with us in the beer garden and stuff. But before that, they'd always take us to the arcades. Now I went probably 10 years ago, and they're all gone. I was absolutely devastated. But this holiday camp was brilliant because you used to walk out the front and you used to walk down the coast, and then there was just like blocks of. There was one this way that was rubbish. It was all shuffle machines, but we used to like that. Because that's kind of fun. But we're never about that's not really gambling. Never about gambling, just about the arcade experience. But we used to go this way because it's Blue Anchor Bay. There was an arcade called the Anchor. Massive, more so claw machines and stuff. But that was where I first saw Star Wars Arcade, and that blew my mind. Just the fact that you're sat in this cockpit, even at the age of 5, 6, or 7, or whatever, you're sat in this cockpit, and the digitized voice sounds to you like the movie, but it's not. But that was something else. That absolutely blew my fucking mind. I know I was just. Yeah, me and my brothers, they used to lean in the cab when you were playing it and stuff like that. And the other one I always remember in this arcade was Kung Fu Master, which I absolutely sucked at. I did gameplays of the Commodore Spectrum recently. So when I talk about the arcade, I'm talking about in this one, in the Anchor. And yeah, I absolutely sucked at it. But again, it was just, the noises of the punches and stuff like that. And my parents were amazing that they would sit around and let us walk around this, and it probably seemed like hours, but it was probably realistically an hour. But you were crap at arcade machines as a kid. So that felt like forever. So kudos to them, because they gave me a wonderful childhood, but they must have been bored off their tits and just go, what is all this shit, flashing lights and crap like that? My mum, being the realist, probably just said, probably just as well, Jules, that at least they're not playing with fruit machines, because they were there as well. But that, I guess, I don't know, you don't know, you like to gamble until you gamble, and that's not really the preserver for a 7-year-old, is it? He wants to even try that. You're like, what's the point when I can shoot shit and stuff like that? I think Terror Cresta was another one in it, when at the top down, shoot 'em up, where you used to get extra parts on your ship and stuff like that. And another one I remember that was absolutely fantastic was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That was just, ultimately, if you think about it, it's only 4 levels, but And I think that was a few years later, but that was amazing because it was raining one day and there was nothing to do. And there was one cinema in the next town we'll get to for the arcade experience in Minehead that played, I think I saw Police Academy 3 there. Oh dear, when it was raining. But saw Temple of Doom there. And so that made it even more special, which is, Atari, that, ding, when you put money in. But Atari games were just, like this movie licensing thing, that was special. So yeah, I sucked at that. I could never get past the minecart. No, I could get past the minecart level, which I can't now, but could never get past the level after that. And if you think about it, there's only 4 stages in it, but me and my brothers were like, oh my god, it's the movie crammed into an arcade machine. Look at the graphics, they're fantastic. It's like looking at life. And again, I'm saying this is the golden years because obviously in the early 90s, didn't go on holiday anymore in these places. We used to fly abroad to America and things like that. So played a few machines there, but I'm talking about my memories here. And I said this is the golden period because I think up to 1989 is pretty much the best period in arcades. And so this was like, kind of more claw machines, gambling machines, a couple of pool tables and stuff like that. But those were the 3 main machines I remember there. My brothers loved them as well. I don't know why I keep doing this and covering my face. And I'm going to pensively do this every now and then because as I found out last week, apparently my phone can only handle 24 minutes. But yeah, so then you would go down the road, and obviously my parents would drive there, and you go along the coast to this. Anyone been to these places, please let me know. And to this little seaside town called Minehead. We would go there in the daytime as well because it was like a tourist town, and again, fish and chips. I always remember going in there with the Woolworths because sometimes our uncles would give us a little bit more money. The idea being we could buy corgi cars. I think I got my corgi Buck Rogers ship. Do you remember that? They had to put the bar across the front so you wouldn't stab your eyes with the points on it and stuff. In there, and that was a wicked little place because there was one arcade in here, and I've mentioned this before. It smelled of BO, piss, and shame. Even as a kid, I was like, "This is a weird smell." But this was an absolutely fantastic arcade as well, and this was just down from the cinema. And my parents would be like, kind of like, I'm not saying this was dodgy, and the child catcher from fucking Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was going to come along and abduct us or anything like that. But I think they were kind of like a little bit, maybe because of the smell and the fact that you could smell booze on people in there. They're a little bit more sort of guarded towards their kids, but. Gauntlet was right inside the door, the 4-player arcade machine of Gauntlet, and you could just hear that as soon as you walked in. You could hear the, warrior shot the food, elf shot the potion and stuff like that. And again, that was speech to me, was fantastic. And we used to play that, and I mentioned it in my gameplays. My parents would look at us just like dumbasses. There's no skill in this game. Your health is just going down and down and down and down. I know we gave you this money to play, but go and play something. At least it's based on a modicum of skill and not, you're pumping in money. I think they did actually kind of say, seriously, banned us from that machine at some point. But it was great when all 3 of us were on there, fantastic. I love that machine. But it was, like I said, it was just the experience of walking in. Would always hear that machine. And right next to it, I would always remember hearing, body blow, body blow. And it was the Super Punch, probably Punch Out back then. And again, a machine that blew me away with the wire graphics, but I was shit at it. I was just flailing button-wise like this. It didn't matter. It never, cheapened your enjoyment you got from it. It was still absolutely fantastic. But there were very few games I would pick that I could, and repeat because I would play them because I could. It was all about, got to play it. It's a movie-based game or something like that. Because in this arcade, they had Return of the Jedi, which, nowadays isn't as good as the original Star Wars game because it should have been in vectors like the sequel Empire, although didn't the original Star Wars game come out in 83 as did Empire, and Return of the Jedi came out later? I don't know, look it up, it's weird, but I loved it again because it was movie movie based, and even though it was isometric, my twin brother Ian loved it. I got a gameplay of most of these on various systems, by the way, if you're interested. And yeah, that was. I always remember that being absolutely fantastic because I remember the machine. Isn't it weird how you remember these things perfectly? The machine that was right next to it was Paperboy, and it was the one with the handlebars. That was, that was just so great, and I loved that because it was in a TV show we used to watch as kids after school, like a quiz show, and they used to have one level of that in Hypersports. Excuse me, which was also in this arcade and track and field, and then a couple of machines that I sucked at. I thought, just because they were in this TV program, I don't know, this is how your brain works. It's good. I must play them. But yeah, just always remember Paperboy because the handlebars and stuff like this. And behind us, there was, who remember these? The hexagonal pool table. I don't know why I'm doing this because I'm pretty sure you can remember what a hexagon looks like. Hexagonal pool table. And my dad was a big pool player and he always tried to get us to play pool in these places. But he really wanted to play that with us because it was like, hexagonal pool table. Oh my God, come on kids. I think he was a little bit disappointed. It was like, sorry Dad, can't stop now, playing Gauntlet or papers don't deliver themselves. Or, I'm trying to win the gold in skeet shooting. But yeah, I still am forgetting that because I really kind of regret as an adult being someone who loves pool now and snooker more so than pool. That oh, why didn't I play that? Why didn't I take advantage of that? And obviously there are loads and loads and loads of old school ones in here. But they weren't so old school then. Like you had the original Space Invaders, Galaxian stuff like that. Yeah, it was. I mean, they're the machines I remember from this arcade. I always going on about it being amazing, but they were the ones that always sucked up my money. Really, really sucked it up. But Galavan, Cosmic Police. I love that. Again, I was shat at that, but I absolutely loved it so much that I bought the home port on the Spectrum. Oh shit! You would always try and recreate this experience, as I always said. And when the games got released on the Spectrum for these machines, you would always go out of your way to try and get them. Even though, well, as a kid, you hope they would be good, and you kind of build it up in your head or fill in the gaps. But they're more ultimately, and more often than not, they were shit. But the next arcade I want to talk about, the next place we went on holiday, was just like a couple of years later. We sold our caravan because the site owner changed and the new owner. I know this now because when you have adult conversations with your parents and you reminisce about why did we go, because I used to love that place, but the new site owner was an absolute cock. So we went to a place called Westward Ho, and this had the best arcades ever, specifically one which had the genius idea of combining food. But that was like 2.5 hours away. I went there a couple of years ago, and these are all gone as well. And this was really gutting because oh, it was such a great place and a fantastic beach. Oh, it was a chalet park. All the paths went downhill, so we used to sit on skateboards like Indiana Jones, chucking pebbles under each other's board, so you fall off and rip the seat out your fucking trousers because you're on grip tape. But this was brilliant. It had power, obviously, in the chalet here, and it had a fantastic beach, massive front. I used to have to get the paper every morning, so I'd walk down, stand on my skateboard, and just open my jacket and hold it like that, and the wind would propel me along. But we do the same thing. We get there at night, and I would be the person. I don't know. I always did the chores, like get the paper in the morning or get the fish and chips when we got there, which I didn't mind because my dad would give me like 50p or something to use in the arcade when I waited. Because you'd walk along the seafront in one direction, and this fucking amazing arcade was paired with a chip shop, same owner, and you'd be in the chip shop and you put your order in and there was a spike and they put your ticket on a spike when it was ready, and you walk down steps, open a door, and you'd be in the front of this arcade, and it was amazing, and it smelled of fish and chips, which I still associate with three machines. But this was where Double Dragon was. This machine sank so much of my fucking money into that machine. Loved it. Again with my brothers, but I got a little advance screening of it before the next day because I went and got the fish and chips. Loved that. But next to that was Commando, which I really liked, but I was absolutely appalling at it. Still am. But yeah, that was brilliant. Next to that, again, like you remember, there was Joust. And then behind this was where they had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade machine, which was absolutely just amazeballs. But it was brilliant how they used to do it, and they still do it to some degree, where all the machines were put in a circle and you could just go around, put one in, lose, go around. Because on the back was Arkanoid as well, the one with the twisty thingy. Oh, good times, good times. And yeah, this arcade was phenomenal. And then there was a basketball or skeet hoop here, and then the main entrance was here. But you go down, and then there was the booth where you give your money to the bloke and stuff like that. And then this is where the big cabinets were. They had Afterburner, Space Harrier, and Outrun in the same bloody arcade. I mean, they were 50p a pop then, 1986, 7, 1985. But they were amazing. The full, hydraulic ones. And the first time I saw Outrun, I was like, I've never forgotten how I felt when I saw that. I mean, I thought I was blown away when I saw Space Harrier, but when I saw Outrun, I was just like, I think I'm in love. Again, it doesn't matter how good you were at these things back in the day. I sucked at it, but it was something else. It was like driving, as close to driving as you could get. As a kid, I loved it, and I loved Space Harrier, but more so with Space Harrier, you look at it and you realise it was just there. I don't give a shit how good you are. That's not a game people go through on a credit. That was there you can literally feel the money coming out of your pockets quicker than it did when Gordon Brown was fucking Chancellor. Just sucked out into this machine, and it was amazing. The sprite scaling was something else that just blew my face off. But that, and like I said, Afterburner as well, because we just seen Top Gun, even though we weren't old enough, but my parents were good, stuff like that. Like that felt like you were in a plane, with that joystick and the fact that it really moved like that. This arcade was fantastic. I need a time machine to go back to this arcade. And then down the side you had Super Mario Brothers that I never appreciated at the time because there were games either side of it that were more impressive, at least to me. There was Cabal on one side, and then New Zealand Story on the other side, which I absolutely absolutely fell in love with. And then, I mean, on this side of the arcade, there was. This is going through the years, mind. So, like, don't think I've just walked into the arcade and they're all here at the same time. But they had a Crude Buster, or well, that's what it was called when I played it, Crude Buster. And they had hooky machines. They had a Shinobi that was made by a company called, and it was weird colours, but it wasn't Sega. It was, and it wasn't Asmic because that's obviously the PC Engine. I forget what it was, but played that, absolutely loved it. Even I knew that this should be Sega. That was a particular favourite of my brother's, and this is also, and this was up with the Double Dragon machine where I first played Splatterhouse. Only this was called Slaughterhouse. I swear, these were real things, and also you would read it when you're there, and it would be like, if you're playing this game outside of Japan, you're committing a crime. Well, tough. I'm playing it now, and also, I don't know what to do. Tell a fucking adult. Go and get a police. Hey, Mr. Policeman, that arcade machine says I'm committing a crime. Come and look. Come and look. You get a bump on the head, son, or something. But yeah, and yeah, Black Dragon was called Black Tiger, or was it the other way around? But yeah, I never worked that out till I was an adult, the name changes and stuff like that. Because when I download the ROMs from MAME, which I do to relive these memories, they're always called what they should be. What am I on? Ooh, 20 minutes. Cool, I'm getting carried away and just nostalgia. Pac-Land as well, because I knew Pac-Man and loved it, which they also had, and Miss Pac-Man. But Pac-Land was fantastic because it was just like the cartoon, which I loved back in the day, but you controlled it with nothing but buttons. And then they had Chase HQ. Like I'm telling you guys, kids, everyone, anyone who will listen, this arcade was like, the afterlife. And another, absolute favourite of mine was Thunderblade, which wasn't hydraulic, it was gears based. So you move the stick and it would go like that, wouldn't it, in the opposite direction, but your helicopter would move in the right direction, which again as a kid was amazing. And then they had one of those old automatic machines where it looked like a big fuck off helicopter cockpit. This was huge, probably the size of the going up to the top of this room. And you move with your feet like a real helicopter, but obviously it was just repeating background, moving through like a lens or something, and you fire rockets and they would look like they're moving, and a score would go up. And it wasn't even that interactive, but I just bloody loved it, because I loved helicopters as a kid. Yeah, true story. And it just felt like I was sitting in a helicopter. This arcade was absolutely fantastic. I mean, there was another one along the road, but we only went there because there was a penny machine. I'm sure people remember these, where you put pennies in and you pick a horse, and these little electronic horses would go. But we only went to this one because they had more gambling machines and bingo machines. It was mainly a bingo arcade. I never got those bingo machines back then. I mean, I played bingo as a kid, and like at charity events or like Fate or something, where your parents would take you to raise money for schools and stuff like that, or the school, not schools in general. But yeah, I never got my head around the bingo arcade machines. But we went there because they had Marble Madness, and as a kid, I just could not get my head around the fact that you had that trackball. Again, I sucked at that. Didn't stop me enjoying it, but you had that trackball. That was just, oh, that was something else. That was mind blowing. Then there was, is it LED Storm or LED Storm? My twin brother Ian loved that. I love Bionic Commando, and I've still never forgotten this. Again, this one stank of fags, absolutely smell of fags, and I'd be really pissed off that because they would lease these arcade machines. I thought they bought them as a kid. Like, I've always thought, like, if I lived here, I'd just stay down here at night when it was closed and just press the credit button and stuff like that. But yeah, people, they'd have little ashtrays sank. An ashtray sank into the arcade tops, and people would still extinguish their fags out on the control board. And I just, even as a kid, I thought, man, that is just fucking rude. Oh, but yeah, then there was. I know it just feels like I'm reeling off, but it's just generally passionate, exciting. Remembering these stories. Just they had a candy floss store in there as well. Which is, do not play arcade machines when you have candy floss. It gets all over your fingers, and you get sticking to the button, sticking to the stick, and then whoever comes on after you gets really, really pissed off. And I do remember I got really, really good backtracking in New Zealand story, and this was something else as a kid that made you feel like you were a famous superstar. Then you were doing so well that people would stand behind you and you'd have a little crowd around you watching you. And I'm like bloody 9 years old, and I got all these, unless they're thinking, I'm just going to push him out of the way, take his money and nick his credit. But no, I thought they played, well, maybe they were just laughing at how shit I was, but I thought I was quite good at New Zealand story. But these are memories that, again, arcades aren't as prevalent as they are now, and I don't think they have such meaning to younger generation. Shake harder, boys. They do to our generation because of the lack of technology at home, and that the real grunt and improvement in graphics and stuff like that was in these arcades, And since they've grown up, imagine growing up now and your first console was PlayStation 4. They probably look at us and think that's amazing. I look at them and think you have missed out on such an amazing, experience. And that's not just me with nostalgia goggles on, being an old man again. Shake harder, boy. That is, you've missed out on experience that was, that I don't honestly think, with arcades now will never happen again, because arcades now, to me, thanks to Sega, they're all light gun games. I mean, this arcade then had Operation Wolf and Operation Thunderbolt that I absolutely bloody loved. The first time I saw Operation Wolf, I shat my pants. But yeah, I don't know, like, they're all boring light gun games now. Jurassic Park, the Transformers game, the Rambo game, like, where's the effort? But these were something special. DJ Boy, I remember playing DJ Boy for the first time and being absolutely blown away. This was an arcade just upright. And Moonwalker, that to me was, wait, this is music. Now as an adult, it sounds nothing like it. It's kind of a reminiscent beat version of Michael Jackson. But then it was just like, holy cow, Michael Jackson's trapped inside this machine, and I never want him to come out because this sounds amazing. Oh, these were just absolutely fantastic. And remember the FBI drug warnings? Winners don't use drugs and stuff like that. These were never many Neo Geo machines, though. Never many Neo Geo machines. I don't know why. Maybe that's because people bought those and changed the cartridges. But yeah, do you know what? I have so many. It just sounds like me reeling them off, but I've just got lost in the world of nostalgia and excitement talking about it. There's so many memories: fish and chips, candy floss, skateboarding along the seafront, and this one arcade. I mean, the Minehead one was good, but this one in Westward Ho, this main one was just. I reckon there must have been close to 100 cabinets in there. Seriously, and all the articulated ones were, in the middle, like separated, because otherwise you bang into each other and hurt people's feet and shit like that. And there's a lawsuit and stuff, but. Yeah, good times. Again, this is gone forever now. I honestly believe that, and it's a shame because these 4, 5, 6, 7 years of my life before we stopped going to seaside towns, and seaside holidays were the best. Don't care what anyone says. They say, "Oh, you were poor. You should have gone to Spain." Fuck off. I had something you never get. But yeah, this was the golden period of coin ups. Greatest. Golden Axe, another one. I couldn't wait to play. Used to drive down, reading magazines, Mean Machines in a car a few years later, and see the Sega games and go, I can play. I was coming out with the Mega Drive, but I can play this in the arcade. Oh, prehistoric Isles. Oh man, Time Machine, please. Anyone got a Time Machine or DeLorean? Can I borrow it? I need to go back to this time. Honestly, I had such a wonderful childhood, and the arcades was such a big part of it. I mean, what were your memories of experiences of the arcades? And I guess, sorry, I keep looking at the time. And holidays in general as a kid, is that where you played the arcades? Because that's my main experience, and it made the holidays that much special. But it's been wonderful talking about this. And let me know what you think. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.